Nissan Altima, made to drive, built to last.
这是一个这两个CBS 所试过的，其他我还没试过。
This morning in Health Watch, children and cholesterol. For the first time, the American Academy of Pediatrics says some children as young as 8 should be given cholesterol-fighting drugs to prevent future heart problems. Joining us is Dr. Emily Sine. Good morning.
Good morning, Tracy.
So it sounds so young. Why are they recommending this?
Simple fact, the obesity epidemic is underway. We know that a plaque buildup, cholesterol buildup inside arteries begins very, very young. So to get a handle on this obesity epidemic, they want doctors to begin to look at children as young as 8 years old if they have elevated bad cholesterol, that's LDL cholesterol, and other risk factors as potential candidates for cholesterol-lowering medications like statins.
So how early should kids be getting their cholesterol tested then?
New guidelines there as well. What they're saying very specifically is that sometime between the age of 2 and 10, kids should have their cholesterol levels checked, particularly if they have a family history of high cholesterol, early heart disease, if they're overweight or obese, that means greater than 85 percentile on BMI, or other risk factors for heart disease, or if their family history just isn't known, kids should get tested. The number they're looking at again is LDL, which is the bad cholesterol. Seeing elevated levels of that we know is linked to heart disease on down the road. So again, it goes back to the obesity epidemic.
And are these drugs safe for kids?
You know, that's been much discussed, and I expect there'll be a lot of controversy surrounding this. The American Academy of Pediatrics, which is making these recommendations, says yes, they believe they are. There have been recent studies done in children that suggest they're safe, but I imagine a lot of people are going to have a problem with that, in that these drugs have not been studied long-term in children.
And there's also new recommendations for low-fat milk in kids.
Very interesting. Used to be after the age of 2, parents were advised to reduce the amount of fat in children's milk, bring it down to low fat. Now they're saying at the age of 1, if a child is at risk for overweight and obesity, some pediatricians say, well, that's virtually all children. So again, ways to try to combat the
big obesity epidemic. All right, Em, thanks so much.
ABC 新闻。
We put the Nissan Altima through over 5,000 tests for quality and durability. Of course, you'd never treat yours that way, right?
Sorry.
The Nissan Altima, made to drive, built to last.
We have all done it, misheard the lyrics of a song, thinking that Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds is really Lucy in the Sky with Linus, or being convinced that Jimi Hendrix was really singing "Excuse me while I kiss this guy" when he was really saying "Excuse me while I kiss the sky." Well, guess what? Now there's a word for that, mondegreen. It comes from an old Scottish ballad with the lyric "Laid him on the green," which countless people thought was Lady Mondegreen. Mondegreen is one of about 100 new words being added to the Webster's Collegiate Dictionary. Others include dirty bomb, mental health day, air quotes, and wingnut, which means any kind of radical. Wingnuts for words will be rejoicing.
Turning now to politics. With the race between Barack Obama and John McCain heating up,
they've probably taken a mental health day to ponder their mondegreens. That's a page from my notebook. I'm Kitty Couric, CBS News.
This is
广告，反正这个整不明白。
Iraq last week gave foreign companies a chance to get a foot in the door of that country's huge oil reserves. But with oil above $140 a barrel, the company is not likely to be satisfied with just that. As we hear from Elizabeth Palmer in Baghdad.
As he faced reporters to announce the first foreign contracts, Iraq's oil minister Hussein Shahrastani chose his words very carefully.
After all, this is the property of the Iraqi people.
Iraq's oil fields and pipelines may be decrepit, but they sit on top of the third largest reserves in the world. And most Iraqis, like Laith, believe this is why America invaded. Everyone knows the war here was an economic one, he says, to give America our oil. Hussein Shahrastani told CBS News that, yes, he had come under pressure from some American senators lobbying for preferential treatment.
I told them in very clear terms, Saddam's era is gone. No external or internal politics is going to influence our decision.
Of the first group of 42 foreign companies approved to bid on Iraqi oil contracts, just 6 are American. At the moment, they'll only be so-called service contracts. That is, the Iraqi government will pay a straight fee for work and equipment and keep full control of the oil.
But what the oil companies, including the American majors like ExxonMobil, really want is a much richer kind of deal called a production sharing agreement, or PSA. It gives them more control and also a share of the oil. And to get them, they're leaning on Iraqi decision makers hard.
A lot of them feel
they're creepy and they're kooky, mysterious and spooky. They're all together ooky, the Addams Family.
M&M's dark chocolate.
CCTV， 然后点一下它的。再按4台。我这个链接好像有点问题，所以播不出来的情况。